MetalMessiahRadio.com and the Tampa Bay Museum of Metal radio show on Metal Messiah Radio. Crank it up.
Hey, I am Kiko from the ethno metal band Tendencia, and I'm with Death Metal Dave here in Metal Messiah Radio.
going on, metalheads? It's Death Metal Dave here on MetalMessiahRadio.com, and I have a very special guest, Jose Ernesto Maderos Valdez, also known as Kiko from Tendencia. What's up, Kiko?
Oh, Dave, this is a big pleasure, man, to be here with you. I tell you, I'm very proud to be in your program. I tell you like that.
I'm happy to have you. You know, once I met you guys, I saw your energy. And even before I met you, the messages that you and Sergio had been sending me were just a pleasure to read because you guys give me way too much credit. And I was happy to see you guys, and you guys had a lot of energy. That was several months ago. I don't even remember what show that was. Yeah, man, I'm glad to have you on here. So tell us a little bit about Tendencia. So you started in 94?
94, man. Sergio and me started this band in 1994 in the city of Pinar del Rio in Cuba, just 150 kilometers on the left of the city of Havana. And very fast, we just spent like a whole year playing everywhere in every party, in every place where they gave us a chance for 20 minutes, for 30 minutes. And it's amazing because in the first year we were playing everything. We played blues, we played hard rock, heavy metal, death metal, everything. Because in that city, there was no other rock band. And in 1995, we focused very fast towards our first demo that was called Negra Manzana, like Black Apple. It was a demo with 5 songs. We recorded it in a radio station from our town, from our city. And then in that year, we played in Havana in a very important place that was called Patio de Maria, like Maria's backyard, which was a culture house in the heart of Havana, which was the myth place for heavy metal in Cuba. And after coming from that show, we thought like we should have to play harder than that. And so then we focused towards guttural voices and all that. And we started singing in English in that moment. And we released a second demo that was called No Mercy.
So is that... Kiko, is No Mercy in English? So the whole...
In English.
The whole demo is... Okay.
Yeah, the whole demo is in English. We released it in 96. And then in 97, we released a third demo that was called Brutal Reality. We were singing in English. We were still singing in English also. Okay. And that, I tell you, that could be our first album because it was a demo of 45 minutes. David, I remember that I sent a tape of that to the magazine Terrorizer from England.
Yes.
And they wrote a short review of that tape that I learned by heart because they wrote, we received this demo, Brutal Reality, from Cuba, from the band Tendencia, and they say, if the name Sepultura or Obituary means something for you, then Tendencia from Cuba is a promise, the starting point to place Cuba in the world metal map.
Nice
point. That was that. When we read that, I told Sergio, man, we have to really focus on this because if they compare our band with Sepultura and Obituary together, so that is what we are. And so in 1998, we released another demo that was called Que te trague la tierra, like I wish that the earth would swallow you. And we started to sing in Spanish again because in our concerts, people started to sing our songs. And we said, well, we are in Cuba, and we wanted to make like a distinctive seal, a stamp for our band. And then we started to use percussion more into the backgrounds of the Cuban culture. Remember, in Cuba, we had Indians, the Spanish came, then they brought the Africans when they killed our Indians, and then the Indians mixed with the Spanish mixed with the Africans, and there it came the Creoles.
Gotcha.
And so we have of everything. If you look at me, I look like an Indian. So in Cuba, we are all melted at all. So we thought, okay, that's what we have to do with our music. We have to melt metal music with the backgrounds of the Cuban culture. That's why we use congas, we use timbales, which are proper from Latin American music, or from salsa or timba, which is music for dancing for people, and we use also tambores bata. So bata is a exclusive African instrument that is to be played for one very skillful musicians or three musicians for that, because there are three congas with leather in every side, so it's very complicated.
So they're like they're like Congo drums, right?
Yes, it is like that. And we have only one person to play that. So our percussionist plays the conga, timbal, and batas. So this is a very distinctive thing in our music. And so in 1999, we released our first official album through a label from Germany that is called Impact Records. We made it with another division that they had for metal and black metal, and this album was called Re-evolucion. For us, it was a re-evolution because we broke the ice of releasing an album for a metal band in Cuba. So we were like kind of pioneers of this in the island. And it was an independent label. They call themselves "We Are Punks for Punks." And after that, well, this album opened many doors for us in Cuba. We already focused on making a video clip, put it on the media. We were invited for the national television for the first time in our lives. We participated in a show they made for summer it was called Alternative something. I don't remember now. It was a long time ago. And we played there for the first time La Tumba Que Tumba, which is one of the most popular songs in Cuba. And then it's a song that really shows everything we had in our minds in that moment. and after that, in 2004, well, we started traveling a lot in Cuba. We participated in every festival we were invited. Imagine, we didn't even have money to afford the band to tour or something, so we recorded some tapes from us with our demos, and we show up at the festival selling the demos just to have money for drinking and eating. So it was a very funny place and time, you know.
Nice. Yeah.
And then we kept on moving until in 2004. We were invited by EGREM, which was the most important label from Cuba, to release our second album. That was called Rebeldes. It means rebels. And we play with both sides of being a rebel. So in Cuba, the rebels were called the people who supposedly made the Cuban Revolution, but rockers are rebel people. So we always say, like, we are the new rebels of this country, you know. So we play tricks with the image of those who were fighting for the independence of Cuba, and us who were fighting for the independence of heavy metal in the country.
Right.
Because we were always like the black sheep of the Cuban culture. You know, we were the last link of the cultural chain in the island. So we said, okay, we just focus, we make double dealing ideas in our songs. They would never understand what we say, and there are even people who got confused with what we were doing. So at the end, everything was going just the way we wanted to do. And this album received the most important award in the music business in Cuba, that is called Cuba Disco Award. For the first time, a metal band released an album that was the album of the year in Cuba. So we got Album of the Year in Cuba, we got Cubaneo Award, we had the Arts Award, and April Award in just 1 year. So then, with this, we say, okay, we need a national tour alone, Tendencia alone. So we hired a bus and went from province to province, playing with our own stuff in big venues or smaller venues. We didn't care. We wanted to play for people and know what we were doing. It was the closest moment for us to do it, you know. And it was amazing that we had concerts with 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people in our concerts. So then I say, oh, this is a dream come true, you know.
Right.
And then in 2005, we were invited to a Metropolitan Festival in Caracas, Venezuela, and it was our first international tour with the band. In 2007, we made a national tour again, and when we were playing in Havana, we were playing for about 7,000 people in a street, with a stage on the street. And there was a producer from a festival from Spain, and she said, we want to take your band to Spain because we have a very important festival there and all that. And I opened my eyes, I say, no, I cannot believe this is going on with us, you know. And then in 2007, we went to Spain. We played the Rame Rock Festival in Asturias in the north, in the city of Oviedo. And we play, man, with the most important acts that we used to dream about in our lives. We play with Barón Rojo. Barón Rojo is like Metallica in Spain, you know. It's the oldest heavy metal. Well, I would compare it more with Judas Priest. So we were with these guys opening for them, and we were like, shit, this is what we dream about, you know. And we were in the festival. We play in the afternoon, like it usually happens when they don't know you at all. But it was amazing. We play about 4:30 in the afternoon, and the people were coming from the camping. We were calling the people like, shit, like, if you don't come here, you will regret, you know. And we were playing tones from Cuban music together with metal and all that. And at the end, our percussion rules with the people, you know. So people who like to have fun, they can like connect themselves with the work of our percussion. And in the festival, well, after the festival, there was a beautiful review from Metal Hammer where they said that we were the band that hypnotized the people who were in front of us. Imagine that the guys from our band were like telling me, "Oh, it's a pity we're not playing in the night," because I can tell you that was the only time in our lives that we play during the daytime. And I told them, "You don't worry. We came here to convince the people that invited us to this festival. We're playing for the artists that will look to us. And if there is a producer or someone who can be interested, or someone who's going to write our band, or even if we play for the grass, we have to do it 102%. And we will see after what's going on." And that was what happened. So after the festival, our manager, who was the promoter of the festival, he came to us and they said, "You know what? You're coming next year again, and you will play at 12 in the night." And we played between Barricada, which is a very big band in Spain, and Barón Rojo again. And it was like we had pyrotechnia, everything.
Cool.
And people were like crazy, and we were more crazy than that, you know. And then in 2009. We made a DIY tour to Germany, and we played at this March of Rock Festival, and we played at Trebur Open Air. Amazing. We played with big bands from Europe, bands from England, from Ireland. Clawfinger was there. You know, we were making the sound check at Trebur Open Air. It's near Frankfurt, 30 kilometers away from Frankfurt. And Clawfinger were behind our stage watching our percussion and our percussionist. And our stage manager came to me and said, "You know who is in the back of your stage?" He said, "The singer from Clawfinger." We stopped the sound check, and we went there to have a picture with them in the back of the stage. And you know what they did? They took all the identification cards and they put it in our necks and said, "You have access to all areas with Clawfinger." If I show you the pictures I have with Clawfinger on stage, you wouldn't believe it.
Nice.
You wouldn't believe it. And we were like, "Oh my God!" People we liked. Because we're really a very open-minded band at music talking, you know.
Yes.
We like blues until the most extreme metal band we can find in the world, you know.
Right.
And for us, it was like really amazing that at the end, everybody was liking us as persons, behaving with us as musicians as we are. And we are very respectful with every musician we meet. And buddy, and next year, in 2010, we repeated. No, in 2009, we came back to Spain, and we recorded our third album in Spain. That was called Confidential. And our producer was one of the most important guitarists from Spain. It's called Alberto Rionda. He is the leader of the band Avalanche. Well, for you to know, very easy, Magnus Rosen played bass in Avalanche. On the drums, Mike Terrana was on the drums. Mike Terrana. So imagine we met these guys there. Like, fuck, you know, we were in Cuba, in an island, isolated by water and communism and a lot of things. And all of a sudden we were meeting people that we dream about, you know. And this album was nominated for Best Album in Cuba too, but we didn't have copies in Cuba, but as it was released by Spain. And later we made copies in Cuba, but it was late for being really. So then, in 2012, there was a moment of silence. I mean, into tours outside, because in 2013 we made a national tour that was called the Metal Route, and we had a lot of fun there. And we always like tour alone, but in every province we invited two bands from every province to open for us so that they could play with us.
Gotcha.
And we always support the young guys because it was so difficult our beginning that we say, okay, the new generations at least with us will have a chance, you know, and that was my projection and the band projection too. So then in 2012 we released an EP with Vernon Blake here in Tampa, and it's called The Trap.
Yep, Vernon Blake.
Vernon from Umbilicus, you know.
Yep.
Vernon is a very close friend of us, you know, personal friend, and we appreciate him a lot. So thanks to him, we could be with Cannibal Corpse in Berlin in 2018. And I'm talking about after I'm talking, you know. But through the label Rigid Records, we released this EP. It's called La Trampa in Spanish, but in English it's The Trap. And then in 2018, we recorded Cargando Cruces, Charging Crosses, which was the album that represented our band in Germany for an amazing tour. I think will be said so far the biggest tour with Mace, because we play with Judas Priest, with Soulfly, Madball, Hatebreed, God Dethroned, Tankard. There were so many bands, Cradle of Filth. So we were like, fuck, we are in a cloud, you know? We were in a cloud like that, you know? There was Body Count there. You know, there are some things that also get us attached to some bands when they have a Cuban musician. For example, Juan Garcia from Evil Dead, he plays guitar with Body Count too. And he's Cuban. He was born in Cuba. And when we met, and we were friends in Facebook for more than 50 years, and we met in person for the first time. For example, Freddie from Madball, he's Cuban. He was born in Cuba. When we met in the festival, I was, fuck, we cannot believe this is happening. And we were, when you are a Cuban and you meet another Cuban in another place, it's like you were family.
Right.
Even though, it was funny. We were sitting in the same table for lunch and for dinner and talking in Spanish. I was talking to him in English. He was speaking to me in Spanish. And we were all having like a lot of fun. We met Hatebreed for the first time. My drummer used to play in a hardcore band before, and Anier, our singer, also played. His previous band was a hardcore band. So that's why we follow these kinds of bands that also, because Tendencia not only makes fusion with the Latin American instruments, also with rock music. So that's why you can see in our songs parts that are like kind of punk music, or kind of death metal, or kind of hardcore, or deathcore, or whatever. You know, when we compose, we open our mind and our hands so that we can cover whatever we think about, you know. And this album was album of the year in Cuba, man. Album of the year again in 2018. And as the Cuban label never opened their hands again, and their arms, they never opened our arms again after 2005 when we were album of the year. And I know what this happened. I know why this happened. Because the album from 2018, we released it with another German label that is called Anti-Pop. And Ruger Records. It was a double company. I mean, a mixed company. And then I went to the Cuban label again. I say, you see, since 2005 that we were album of the year, now we're album of the year again. When I offer you the album and you didn't accept it, and I released it with a German label, and now we are album of the year. You lost that award. The company, I meant, you know.
Yes.
And as we were going to be in 2019, 25 years, they say, okay, we will sign a contract for you for the 25th anniversary of the band. And then it was when we released Añejo 25. Añejo is a kind of rum that takes time to cook itself. It was like kind of a compilation, not a best of or something like that, but we say we want to show what we want to be for the people. And then we released that. So there are many songs that were not included there, but we say, okay, we will be 30 years in 5 years, then we will be 35 after, because we have always trusted that we will be together all life, man, because we are like a real good family. When we say let's drink, we drink. When we say let's run, we all run. When we say let's fight, we all fucking fight. So this is what, and we are fighting for our career. We are artists that believe in what we do, and whenever we've been, we say, we are new here. We are the new kids in this town, but everybody will know us because we have what you said at the beginning. We have the energy and we have the desire to make our name grow, and that's the thing. So for me, it's really like we are like a brand new for people with 29 years of experience. So imagine we would be in the United States 25 years behind. Where we would be. So, but this is the moment. This was the moment we just took a very hard decision for us to leave Cuba, and now we're established in Tampa. Tampa is where death makes itself respect. So that's the title of one of our songs, and that's why we didn't want to go to New York or go to Los Angeles. We said no, the place is Tampa, and that's why we're. And that's why we're in Tampa. We enjoy every fucking weekend watching all metal bands that come here dance. So we're all fond of them. And, you know, whenever I see a band, so for example, when we saw Sacred Rage, I have pictures of my concerts with the shirt from Sacred Rage. When I saw Carcass after, I say, I have the t-shirt of the last album from Carcass. And we didn't have a market for that in Cuba. But when we were in Germany, I say, I will buy what I don't find in 15 years. And I got it. So we grew up listening to this. I tell you, Carcass, when they released, we loved their first albums, but when they released Hardcore, for example, was an inspiration for our demo Apocalypsis, and we have passages from the same song Apocalypsis that you can see easily the ideas of what Carcass made in our minds. So we have so much music to explore. And if I tell you, if someone starts listening to our music from head to toe, you will see that every song in our band is different from the other. So it means that our mind is really wide. We have a lot of fields to explore, and we are really creators, like artists, and we are always eager to do new things. So, for example, Sergio, when we went to Germany, say, we will buy a computer for you. You have to specialize on sound, because we are in a country where we cannot afford to get into a studio or something. We make it ourselves. I bought a computer for me, and I specialize on video editing and all what has to be with that. So if you check our video clips, most of them were directed by us. Sergio, my brother Jose, take care of our DIY recordings, and that's what we thought. We should be like completely independent, so we don't have to be like begging anybody. We are artists that can create at home, so then we have to be independent on technology too. And you know, technology is a very busy business, so I know what that means, you know.
Hey, Kiko.
Yes.
Holy shit. Man, it's like,
I
gotta tell you something, everybody out there. When you meet Kiko in person, yes, he is like this in person. He's full of energy, and I love him to death for it. These guys are a ball of fun. We've gone out a couple times, and Ybor once, and hung out at other places. We've always had a good time. Man, it's so funny. I'm like, hey, Kiko, how you doing? Tell us about it. Wow, 30 minutes later, here we are. Nice. That's the kind of interview. No, it's great. I didn't have to interject for anything. That's what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear your history. And that was the short version. We'll get into a longer version at another date, but I do want to ask a couple of questions. originally from Cuba, and you already told us you wanted to leave Cuba. Let me ask you a little question about Cuba. Did they 100% the government, the authorities or whatever, always accept your music? Or how did that go about? You know, like, did they ever give you a hard time?
In our lives, we always had hard times. But we were, in the case of Tendencia, we were very, very respected because we are
by the government?
By everyone.
Oh, okay.
By everyone. So, especially we related more with an ONG that had to be with programming and promoting the new art. It's a very wide thing because they have literature, theater, radio and television, music, but music was the hardest part of that. So in the beginning it was difficult, David. In the beginning it was so hard because in Cuba in the 60s, English songs were forbidden. In Cuba, in culture, that was called the gray period of culture in Cuba. They were following the patterns from Russia.
Right.
And remember that Cuba was depending from Russia very much economically.
Yeah.
So they made the same mistakes that the Russians did, and they made the same mistakes that the German democratic country did too, because Cuba was also very attached to Germany, the democratic part.
Right.
So at the end, life demonstrated that was completely wrong. I tell you, my father, one day in my house, he said something when I was a kid that I always keep in my mind, because my father said, in my house, there will never be a guy with long hair or tattoos. And I was like 5 years old. And you know why he was saying that? Because my uncle, my father's youngest brother, he had a big fight in the street with some stupid policeman that wanted him to cut his hair. So that was really, I tell you, I'm very sure that the guys who were leading the Cuban Revolution in that moment were not really, all of them, they didn't have the culture enough to understand an artist.
Right.
But later, I would tell you, later they were learning, and they really but they made a lot of damage to people. You know, it's like that.
Yeah.
In my school, for example, I studied in a very good school in Cuba. But in my school, every time when my father had to go to a parents' meeting, they say, "Oh, Kiko is a very good student, but he has ideological problems because he likes rock music." And my father said, "What are you talking about? Is he a good student? Does he lack respect to someone or something? What are you saying? That he likes a kind of music that you don't like? But music is wrong. What the fuck? The Beatles, Rolling Stones, Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, Judas Priest,
right.
Gary Moore. Is that Rod Stewart, Elton John?" My father was informed. He knew what I was listening to. And he said, "Is that a problem in the ideology? What is ideology for you then?" So this kind of stupidities we had to face.
Right.
Like at the beginning, there were places where we were like, no, you cannot play here. You know, things like that. But
yeah.
I tell you, I always took that like, that is going to happen, but that is going to pass too. There are many Cuban musicians who took this by heart. I never took it. I say, okay, I cannot open that door now. I leave it there. I go to the other door. And if that opens, that other door that I left closed will come to me later. And they will open it and they say, "Pass, gentlemen." And that's the way it happened. But I tell you, in the Cuban Ministry of Culture, we had many people that later in life were appearing, people with knowledge and and people who could defend rock music. Because when you have someone who is talented, so the other people would say, "Oh, they let me get close to this guy." So in the beginning it was difficult, and I tell you, we started singing in Spanish and English, but there were moments. I was born in 1969, so I didn't suffer this great thing from the culture so much, because I was a kid when this happened. So.
Yeah.
And in my beginning, I was a sport man. I like to play soccer and basketball. So I was not into music when I was a kid. So I got that as soon as I started secondary school, that I discovered the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, and Led Zeppelin, and my mind blew up. That was a new word. That was a new word for me. And then, so it's as I say. Yeah.
I was going to say, so you got a little bit of hassle, but not much.
Nah, I don't care
as far as the rising, because it sounds like you were embraced because you won Band of the Year and a bunch of awards in Cuba for being a metal band. So, and I guess they accepted you.
I tell you, we suffer a lot of defeats.
Oh, I'm sure you did. But
because there were moments in which they, for example, for best video of the year, there was a competition. It's called Lucas. So when you compete with a video clip, there were many times in which they say, okay, rock bands and metal bands. And they put it together to put me a pop band to win the award. This happened to me many times. But I always said, the important thing is to be there. As soon as you are nominated, they will play you in the spots promoting the event. They put you on the national television many times, and then rockers can look at us. And that was the important thing for me. So when I had a problem like that, I just put it behind, because if I carry it with my knapsack, I'm making damage to myself. And I have one thing, David. In Tendencia, we have the ability to listen to something, but if it doesn't work in our brains, we leave it by the other ear, and we don't let it to disturb our mind.
Right.
While there are other people, other Cubans who were like, fuck, I hate them, and that. No, I hate them, but enough. Enough is enough, you know? So when I had to hate somebody, I just put it behind, and I kept on going on, you know? And I respected everything. While I was in Cuba, I knew what I had to say, or I know how to write it. If you don't understand me, that's your problem. Because, you know what I mean? They didn't pay so much attention to what we were writing, but we were writing hard. And we were writing with a double dealing, meaning that we knew, and the people who follow us knew what we were talking about. So, indeed, we were like, okay, we don't care about difficulties. Our mission is to go on and to go ahead. And that's what we've done in these 29 years.
Siento que pronto explotará. ciudad, en paz que descanse. Esta ciudad, en paz que descanse.
Getting ready for our 30th anniversary in 2024. So our head and our eyes are put on next year. Even though we have a lot of months to do things, to still do things, we're already writing a new album for next year to be released for the 30th anniversary. It will be a superior theme. We will start singing in English again. We will start writing new songs for this album, and we want to make like kind of American tour. We have to get ready for that. We're making some moves about it.
Hey, Kiko.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Who's your lineup right now?
I have Lachi on the drums. Lachi is in the band since 2016.
Okay.
Lachi is the best drummer of our country, man. The best drummer of Cuba.
Okay.
We have Anier Barrera, is our lead singer. Anier started in the band in 2016 too. Emmanuel Candela means fire, is our percussionist. Cande is the youngest guy of our band. He's only 25 years old, and he started the band in 2016. You know why in 2016? Because we came to the United States in 2015, and the three musicians that came with us, playing percussion, drums, and singing, they stay here in the States. So we came back to Cuba because we had a tour to Colombia and Mexico 3 months after, and I didn't want to miss that. And then they entered the band in that year. But they were playing in very important bands in Cuba, and as soon as we offered them to play with us, they came for us.
Nice.
And then we have Henry playing the lead guitar now, because the lead guitarist since the very beginning of the band was Sergio, but Sergio is playing the bass now, because Sergio came to the United States 2 years ago. Sergio and me, we are brothers in life, and we started this band, man, and we are always like, Tendencia is our mother, and at the same time is our sisters. So then, and it's our daughter. So Sergio means like the band is our heart and soul together, you know?
Gotcha.
And then Sergio, well, as soon Henry was for sale the last 2 years in Cuba, and then I just told them, you talk, you and Henry talk, and you do what you want. So I don't care who of you plays the guitar and who of you plays the bass. And so don't get surprised if in one concert we change instruments. Because, there's something you haven't seen yet. I play keyboards in the band. In our first concert, we didn't do it, but on April 23rd, our film, I will play keyboards again.
Cool.
Because in our concert in February, we only had half hour, but now we will play 1 hour or more. Who knows? Because we're going to close the concert. So then we can show more about Tendencia in our coming concert. And then, so as you told me, as I told you, Sergio is on the bass or guitar, and Henry is on the bass or guitar.
Gotcha.
They both can play both instruments. And then me, I'm playing guitar and keyboards, and I make the backing vocals of the band. Sergio and me write almost all the songs of our band. We like to play our own music. We like to produce our own stuff. Although every now and then we can play a song from Machine Head or from Metallica or from Sepultura or from Pantera. We used to do that in Cuba for people to have fun. And we like it every now and then to play one cover, one or two. It depends, because in Cuba we used to play 2 hours and a half in one concert, even though we had another band playing for us before. So it tells you how long we've been in the scene and how wide is the composition of the band. And now we are really writing very interesting things after we came from Cuba, and we are facing this new life. And I tell you, we are really focused on what is going to happen.
Who is your percussionist?
Emmanuel Candela Puyol.
Okay.
Emmanuel. Yes. David, you know something? I want to tell you something very personal. You are part of this project, man. Because of this you're doing today. You know what? I wrote a song for the new album inspired on this idea, because as soon as we came together, one of the biggest things about this new life we have in Tampa is that we, the members of the band, came together through Mexico. The 5 that were left in Cuba, I said, we go, and we went together. We passed the border together. We were in prison together in the border, and we were released together 2 days after. And it was funny that the guardians that were taking care of us in the border, they were watching YouTube, watching our videos while we were there having fun inside,
Nice.
And that's really awesome, We are in the land of rock and roll. The United States is the land of rock and roll. And that's what we were born for, man. Listen to this, David. I will write you something. I will read you something for you to keep in your mind, because you are part of this. Superior is my life companion of my monsters, my guys. The ones that I select, the ones that come with others. You came with other people too. So we are making friends. Thanks to you, my friends introduced me to you, and they let me know who you were. You know that? You are part of what I live, survivors of our nightmares, encouraged for a dream. You are part of this. We left the hate behind. We broke the walls or die. I met the devil once. We broke his chains or die. Now we are where we belong. Like pirates searching for a land to put our flag, the flag of new remorse. You are part of what I live, survivors of our nightmare, encouraged for a dream. Dave Metal, you are part of this.
Wow. You wrote that?
That's part of our new album, Dave.
Part of your new song.
You had the premiere. In Metal Messiah, in your face.
Hell yeah. Hey, we have to talk about this show coming up this Sunday. And Tendencia is headlining, and a local favorite, Must Not Kill, is direct support for this show. And a couple of bands I haven't ever really heard of. I may be a little bit out of the scene, maybe. March of the Fallen, The Horribles, and 1, 2, 3 Terrible. And this is at the Orpheum in Tampa on Sunday, April 23rd. This Sunday. And it starts, looks like doors are at 6. So, man, this is going to be a killer night for you guys.
That would be a killer night, man. I'm so eager for these days to come, you know, because we live for this, man. We live for this, you know, and we are so pleased that these bands are playing with us. Because I tell you, they have a big quality. I study every people that I meet, and I've been looking to these bands, and they are amazing, and they are amazing. And it's going to be a killer show. That's the word. That's the phrase. It's going to be a killer show. It's Sunday. It's maybe people, many people would take the day for resting, for getting ready for work on Monday or something like that. But I tell you, if someone has the chance to show up and miss it, will regret it, because then they will have to listen to the stories. And, and you know, the chance that we are here, like, for first time, like exploring the scene, showing up like a brand new band and all this, it gives us the energy, like we think we are 22 years old again, you know, and we have the spirit of the beginning of the band. And that's something really unbelievable, because psychologically, this is giving us a lot of strength and more energy than when we usually have. Well, normally we say that our batteries are really high all the time. We're very difficult people, because we can go to bed at 4 a.m. and at 6:30 a.m. we are giving party again, you know. So this is like kind of our behavior all the time, you know, because when these beautiful things are happening to us, we are like, okay, we don't want to miss a second, you know. We want to do things all at once, and we want to support all the bands, because in Cuba we were like this. When we were in the festival, we were the first to arrive and the last to go. And the same thing is happening here. When we go to Brassmark or to Orpheum, or when we were with you with Ivor, we were like, we want to be here forever, you know, and we enjoy everything. My guys are really very well prepared. We like sports, we like music, we like fun, we like, and then I would tell as promotion, Sundays are the days of football and rock and roll. So usually on Sunday morning, I play soccer with my friends, and then later in the night, we go to rock and roll. So then I suggest people to make some sports in the morning, and then in the night, show at Orpheum and enjoy every band, because this will be a very interesting night. If the people that are listening to us don't like to play soccer because their knees don't support them or something else, have sex, do something energetic during the day, and then in the night, go and chill out with us, because we're going to have fun, Dave. We're going to have fun.
Yeah. And they put on a killer show, man. They're full of excitement. They're full of energy. And I can definitely vouch for that. And when I saw you guys, you played a Sepultura song, actually.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we played Territory.
I'm sure you got some surprises, and that's this Sunday night at the Orpheum in Tampa. Tendencia. I have Kiko on the phone with me right now. Must Not Kill, March of the Fallen, The Horribles, and 1, 2, 3 Terrible. Hell yeah. Sunday, April the 23rd, at this Sunday, doors at 6, 18 and up. And the flyer says 18 and up. and be nice. I don't know what that means. That's pretty funny. It's 12 advance and $15 at the door. Hell yeah. Kiko, man, this has been fucking great, man. And we will hang again soon.
Yeah, we have to, man. We have to, because when we are together and we've been going from one place to another, it's like we are family. It's like we met 15 years ago. Right. We know each other like this, and this is happening with you, and it's happening with the other guys that we have met so far. But we are closer. And this is great. Well, we will have some merchandise at the concert. We will have some CDs, not so many, because we have some stuff in Cuba, but they're bringing it to me slowly, and there are favors that I'm asking. They cannot send it via post, otherwise it will never arrive. So we have T-shirts. We have some stickers to give to people, some CDs from Cargando Cruces, the Black Album of us.
Cool.
The most important thing is that the people show up and have fun with us, because we will have fun with the people that are there, even though if there are 12 or if there are 200. For us, those are just numbers. And we always say, we always leave our skin on the stage, and we can play for grass or for 2,000 people. We don't care. We enjoy what is going on, and that's like this.
Right on, man. I appreciate you very much. That's why I wanted to have you on, Kiko. You're a friend. You're a great friend, man.
Thank you for that.
And you guys are awesome.
That's the thing. We are first friends and man.
Yes.
And then the rest goes on alone. So it comes with it. We're very solidarity people, and we are friendly. That's the word that describes us, man. That's the word that describes us. And I tell you something. In Cuba, I was the promoter of the most important international festival in Cuba with 25 years old. We had bands going there to a city from Los Angeles, from Germany, from Mexico,
Nice.
And that was something that we did for the good of the people that follow our band. And I wouldn't mind if I am able to join other Cubans that I know that are here who have quality. In the future, maybe we can have like a Cuban festival somewhere. So I have my ideas about that. So that is part of what we do as a band too. But in this moment, we're focused on what we have to do, because you have to do first what it has to be done first. But and that's the thing, and that's the name. That's people to get to know us as soon as possible.
And once you get your new album recorded, we'll have you in and we'll do a longer interview. This is a pretty good one though, and we'll go more in depth, and we'll have your other guys in here.
Yeah. No, in the future, we can invite the other guys from the band, and we can tell you stories of things that have happened to us in our tours or something. We can write a book for people to really have fun.
Right. Hell yeah. I appreciate it, Kiko. And I hope you guys have a killer show. Oh, man, you rule, man. You guys
appreciate
are awesome.
this.
And Sunday night, the Orpheum, Tendencia, Must Not Kill, March of the Fallen, The Horribles, 1, 2, 3 Terrible at the Orpheum in Tampa, Sunday, April 23rd. Hey, Tendencia from Cuba, now in Tampa. So anybody that's Cuban in the Tampa or Florida area, get your asses down there.
Yeah, I would like to say before we finish that I want to send from here a big hug and kiss to all the musicians of my band, because these guys are part of my life, and this dream is coming true just because we are together. And this is like a love message I want to send to my musicians who I know are connected with you here in this moment. But I want them to feel my love and serious love as the beginners of this band, just for being part of this. And all the people who come close to our band will be always welcome. will be always welcome because we make friends forever. And that's the way we live. That's the way. I appreciate your interview so much. This is a golden time for us.
Hell yes.
In your radio station, and your friendship is immeasurable, man. It's immeasurable.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate your friendship as well, Kiko, and Sergio and the rest of the guys.
Remember, Sunday at Orpheum, Tendencia with the rest of these bands that rule here in Tampa. It's a day of football and roll, but rock and roll will be after 6 at Orpheum with Tendencia and his friend bands. In your face.
Hell yeah.
Baby, I'm learning from you.
Hell yeah.
Escapa a través de tus labios, frase que oculta un misterio. Solo soñarla es un riesgo, vivirla es de hombres, hombres sin miedo. Freizeit, freedom, libre, libertad. Mi coach is the prize. Un basket paraus, un dem hechos zu folgen. Die Zeit ist so schnapp. Freizeit, Freedom, Libre, Libertad.